Hi, my name is Samantha and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be making a fabric remnant poof. Let's get into it. So we are going to use this fabric that I got from the thrift store and we're going to try and use it the biggest size that it is. So it's already this dimensions, right, which is about 22 by 22. So we're going to use this on 6 sides. So there's the 4 sides of the cube and then the top and the bottom. And on one connecting, we're going to put a zipper. That way, once this is assembled, we can just stuff it with any remnant pieces, any cutoffs of fabric until it's full. And I'm hoping that then it can either be like a footrest or a stool to sit on. I'm not sure like the structural integrity, how good this is going to be, but I'm going to try my best. The plan is to use this with some fusible fleece as well as a lining fabric and put that, like assemble each panel and then put the panels together. I'm not sure if I also need to like stick a piece of cardboard in here. I might do that. Like before I put the lining fabric on, I might put a panel of cardboard. I'm not certain. If you have any tips or tricks, let me know in the comments down below. But all of these pieces I got from the thrift store and they were already cut into squares. So I'm just trying to utilize it the best I can. So this is going to be an experiment. It's either going to work or it's not going to work, but we're going to try. So let's try it.
Welcome back to the show. So that first clip was filmed back in June. So obviously things have changed, but we are going to work on this cube project. Better late than never. If you haven't already watched my video from earlier this week where I organize all my work in progresses, that is why we are getting things done. So we are pulling from the bins, and we're going to have an empty bin. So one of the other projects that are work in progresses can move up in the list. So going to grab that fabric, and I was checking my interfacing. If you want to see what a mess my interfacing is, this is how I store all my interfacing. I have this like it clicks together, this like cube organizer, so I just don't have this middle panel here so that it can fit. I don't know if I bought this at the thrift store, if I bought it at Walmart. I don't know. I don't even remember buying this, but it literally has a poof in the picture. So I'm thinking that this will do what it's supposed to be. So I've never used this. I don't know how this is going to go. We also need lining. So we're going to go to the stash over here, and I'm thinking this guy, it's like a light blue, so I don't think it'll take away from the project. If I don't have enough, we'll pull one of the whites, but this is already kind of like a jacked up piece. So we're going to use what we got. Okay, so here is how we're looking. So we're going to end up using this whole thing. This piece of foam is really not that big. So I folded it into 4s. I've got my squares out. There are a couple extra. So 6 squares, right? And there's enough for 4, which I think is good because then it can be like the 4 sides, and then there's still the top and the bottom that would not be supported, so I could just use another kind of interfacing for that. And then of the blue material, it's not exactly right, but again, there's like 4 panels worth. So the like ring of panels are going to be the same, and then the top and the bottom are going to be slightly different. I'm going to use this fabric here for the top and the bottom as the lining. So oh, and then the zipper, this is the crappy thrift store zipper. But so like all of this, besides this, I do not remember when I got this. All the other stuff is from the thrift store. So I'm very proud of this project. I'm going to get this stuff ironed and then cut. And since this is not fusible, I don't believe so. Here is the information. Yeah, it's not fusible. So sew in. So my thought is on each of these panels is to do an X. That's my thought. And then it'll be sewn together from the sides. So anyways, let me get this ironed and like pinned together. We'll have a better idea of how it's going to look. Okay, so here is where we're at. So this is like the size of the cube, and then the top and the bottom, we have 1 extra panel. I decided no on the cream fabric because there was 3 extra panels. So I have 2 panels sitting here for the top and the bottom. And the lining, I'm wondering if I cut it or not. So I cut the foam into 4 equal pieces. This is what was left over. So I'm wondering if we use this piece and like make a strap. But like, do we leave the lining 1 piece or cut it up? So these would be sewn together, and then the top would hinge with the zipper and the bottom would be fully intact. The other thing I'm thinking with the top and the bottom, if these pieces are exactly the same, I could sew them on 3 sides, turn it right side out, and then I'd have like a sleeve. I honestly don't even have to turn it inside out, but sew it on 3 sides, then I'll have like a sleeve, and I could put cardboard in it. But then how do I turn the project? Or maybe by leaving the hole, then I can put the cardboard in once it's assembled. I don't really know. I think I need to like walk away for a minute and think about this. I'm leaning towards leaving this in one piece because the lining, I'm not ever going to wash this thing, so it's not about like cleaning it or raw edges or not. It's more about when I go to stuff the pieces in, I don't want the pieces to get caught in between like this and this. And I don't really want to like sew a rectangle. I think that's going to look stupid if I sew a rectangle. But then maybe it'll give it character and it'd be cute. I don't know. I'm gonna go look for some cardboard for the top and the bottom and see about that. I think we start with the top and the bottom and see how that is, and we go from there. That's what I'm thinking. So here is where I'm at. I went ahead and sewed this panel together, and I was thinking like, oh, how am I gonna get the cardboard to slide in once it's attached, right? Because once this gets sewn to this, it's gonna block it off. And so I got almost done, and I was like, oh, I should make like a lip. So then I pull it down. So then I ended up just like pulling it down, seam ripping the one side, and so this is like a little lip. I should have done it the opposite way so that like this extra fabric's on the inside, but whatever. So now this part here will be attached to the sides, right? And then once the cube is put together, a piece of cardboard can get slid in. So I found this bolt. If you don't know, you can take apart the bolts like this. So can slide that in. I also have another bolt here. This one's not intended to do the same thing. It's like glued together, but I'll cut it open. So 2 bolts. I also have a whole bolt of this interfacing. It's not great interfacing, it's not super strong, but I have a lot of it. So I'm thinking all 6 of the panels, let me fuse one piece of this because it's not going to use that much, and just give a little bit more structural integrity. And then I also, that extra piece, I folded so that piece of foam is in here. I don't know if you can see it, but that 1-inch piece of foam that was left over, and I just folded that extra piece of fabric over a bunch of times. I don't know if this is going to be too much for my sewing machine. We'll see. But even if I could just like tack it down a couple times. So this is going to be a handle. So if this is the top panel on like the top outside exterior, it's going to have like a handle. I think that's a good idea, right? And then I need to do that same lip thing for the top, and then the zipper would get attached. And I'm leaning towards leaving this as one piece, but I'm still debating the best way to sew this down because there is this extra space. Like, is it cuter to do a rectangle, or do I just do the boxes? I don't know. I'm gonna iron this onto all the pieces, and then maybe it'll give it a little bit more structural integrity, and we can kind of pin it together and have a better idea. So I think I'm gonna do this. I want to sew these pieces together, but then it's going to be really hard to do these panels like this if I do that. But I want to like see what it's going to look like. So I'm going to get this on, and I'm going to do the handle and that top panel just like this one, so it's like a pocket, and we'll go from there. A quick little rant about interfacing. I feel like interfacing, like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, what is this? I got this straight off the bolt. Why is it all jacked up like this? It's so frustrating. This stuff is fusible, so I'm hoping that when I hit it with the iron, this will come out, but like this really messes with cutting, and no wonder why when you go to the store, it's all jacked up when you buy interfacing by the bolt, or by the yard. Anyways, interfacing. Urgh. This project is coming along really great. I did sew the handle down and my machine had no issues with this. I have a Brother SC600 and it was perfectly fine. So I just sewed through all the layers. If you don't remember, this is how floppy the fabric was before, and then adding on that interfacing, this is how it is now. So I definitely think this will help the structural integrity of all the sides of the box. So I am so excited, and I am thinking doing the rectangle and maybe not even do the lining, because if this is fully tacked on, what's the stuff gonna get stuck on? So do we really need a lining? I don't know. So I need to finish the top and the bottom because it needs the lip like this. I'm thinking I'm just gonna seam rip this guy off and then use the last piece of interfacing, get it stuck on here, and then stick this back on, but this edge like this, face it downwards, and then do the same thing for that one. And then I think we can start assembling. I don't think we need the liner. I think we're good with no liner, especially putting this interfacing. I don't think it's going to be see-through. I don't think you can see through that, because like, see how this was, like, you can kind of see my hand. Now with this interfacing on every piece, you can't see anything. So I don't think it matters as far as being see-through, and I don't think it matters as far as like it getting stuck on this if I sew this panel down centered as a rectangle. And I'm not worried about sewing this down at all. It was so easy to sew the handle. Quick update, this is coming along really well. So we have the handle sewn on, we have the like openings done, both of the openings are done, and then I'm working on sewing down the panels. So I was like, okay, I need to center them. So I figured out the center points, and then when I went to flip it over, like I had this pinned down, and I was like, wait a minute, how in the world am I gonna know where to sew? So I had to figure that out. I ended up marking on the long edges 5 inches in with a friction pen. So friction pens erase with heat. So I marked 5 inches in with a friction pen. I marked where the center is, pinned on this side, and just made sure that I didn't sew over the pins, and just sewed the 2 vertical lines. So as you can see here, I folded over, notch, notch, same thing with the fabric. These are the friction pens, as you can see right there. And I'm not gonna bother sewing the top and the bottom, because how is anything gonna get stuck under there? Like, it's too high up, it's not gonna happen. So I'm gonna get the rest of these panels sewn up. Okay, you are about to see the magic in action. So you can see the stitching line. Ready? What up? Iron's not getting hot. And look at that, it's all gone. So before, after. And I think the 2 lines is super clean. I really like it. You don't need steam. I'm just steaming it to make sure all the interfacing is down. But that is how the friction pens work. Here's another spot that might be easier to see. Okay, so here we are. The bag is turned right side out. I have not stuffed it at all. I did check that there's no holes. The corners are by no means perfect. I don't feel like you can really see the lines where I stitched down the sides. I definitely don't think a lining was necessary. I also need to add the, what's it called? The cardboard on the top and on the bottom. And I think this turned out great. It is going to take me such a long time to fill this thing up. This started, all these panels were kind of 21 by 21. So this thing is huge, and I'm so glad I put a handle on it because I cannot imagine how heavy this thing is going to get when it's full. So now I need to just spend the next, I don't know, couple of years filling this up with some scraps that would have gone in the trash. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.